All right, would you believe me that this video that you're looking at right now is actually being recorded off my webcam? That's right, this is a really neat, high resolution, high quality webcam with microphones and speakers and light all built in. Let me go through it and show you what all it can do. Hey everyone, this is Nate and this is the Nader Tater channel. Alright, this is a cool webcam that is very different than any webcams I've had in the past and way better than the ones built in to at least the computers that I have. So this one is 2K resolution. It has 4 microphone arrays, so that helps get very clear sound as well as detect background noise versus the person actually talking in front of it. And then also has built-in speakers on it. They're actually pretty good. I'll show a test here of those as well. And it has a built-in light that is adjustable and obviously turn it on and off if you need to. So this one is really designed for today's work from home environment, and that's a lot of what I do. I say majority of my work, whether it be Nader Tater, this one, I'm here in my basement, or even for my main engineering gig, a lot of my work is done virtually, and I use a lot of video conferencing. This is really a product designed for that space, so I want to get it out and show you how it compares to a regular computer webcam that's built in, as well as how I think it compares just overall as a video camera compared to like this professional grade one that I'm videoing right now. Alright, so let's open up the box here. Alright, so you can see this is how it comes packaged. You can see you download the Ankerwork software. That's to get the best use out of it. I'll go ahead and tell you, I actually plugged this in directly, and on my Windows 10 machine, it worked right away. But this software gives you some more features. I'll show that in a second here. So here's the main camera, and it has a flip-up screen here, and this is where the light is built in. Obviously, here's the camera itself. Over here, this is actually all touch. So this is a brightness adjuster for the light, and then over here on this side, it has a on-off for the light. And on this side, it's a touch for a mute button. So this mutes it on and off. And then this here is how it clips onto the top of your computer, monitor. And that's adjustable. This does unscrew, as well as having a standard 1/4 inch thread here, which works for the tripod or any of the other standard camera mounting options that are out there. On the back side here, we have some ports. We have a data port, which is for the actual video itself, and we have a power port. So those are separate cords that you have to have. That's a little bit of a downside to it, in my opinion. And then this port over here is a specific one for some other Ankerwork products. Alright, also on the back side here, underneath this felt, is the speakers, and the speakers are actually very good, and you can use them as your only speakers. They're very equivalent, in my opinion, of a regular laptop speaker. So nothing to rave home about. You're not going to have a disco party with it, but certainly clean enough and clear enough and loud enough that you can video conference just with this guy being your microphone and your speaker source on whatever computer or device that you are using. Alright, and then in here we have the AC adapter. And now it's kind of interesting because it has a universal one. So obviously you can see here, this doesn't look like a plug, and that's because it's not. It then takes a little adapter. This is the American plug that you can throw in here. And you push in and twist, and now it's a American one. But it also has the European market ones as well. So those are options in there. And then the last piece is the data USB cable that goes from the camera to the computer. So it's fairly easy. But let's get it plugged into the computer and show you how it's set up. Alright, if you notice on the back side of the camera, I actually only have one USB plugged in. And what happened was I plugged that data cable in first, and I heard my computer recognize the device, which I was expecting to have to plug in the power for it to recognize the device. I thought, well, maybe it won't do video or the light or the speakers without the power plugged in. But so far, it actually does all the functions that I can tell with no secondary power source. This is just my computer providing both the data and the power through there. So I thought that was interesting, that it looks like you don't need the power unless perhaps your computer or whatever USB port you're plugging into doesn't have enough supporting amperage to provide it. But I have the light turned on full max, and then I had speakers playing through it, and everything still works. So I'm going to just turn off that light. It doesn't do a lot when I have so much light going on right now, but this is how the video looks when it is in the standard frame of reference. So this is, I think, 95 degrees field of view, but you can adjust that, and this is 2K resolution, and obviously you can adjust it with your computer settings. So let's hop in there and show you how you can do that. Alright, so here is the Ankerwork software that I downloaded from software.ankerwork.com, and right now I'm using my regular professional camera to record this because I can't use the webcam recording while I'm showing you this app because it needs to access the device. So let's show you what it does here. Once you plug it in, it automatically showed up on my computer. I did not install any drivers or anything like that. This software just picks up that the camera is connected. So if I hop in here, you can see it pulls up the camera, and then you can have the resolution change. Obviously, if you go down, what I did think was interesting about this is these settings stay on the camera. So even if I leave this Ankerwork app and I go to the Windows camera app, or if I go to my Teams meeting or a Zoom call, it retains these settings. So this is where you can go in there and set it, and it will kind of remember that. So I obviously leave it on 2K the best I can. Any kind of video conferencing I do normally scales it down, and it does not share your video at 2K unless you have a high-end video conferencing system. But I like to have it the highest that it can go. And then look in here, you have the different frame of references. So I can zoom it out at that 95 degrees of field of view. You can do 78, or I can zoom it in to 65. So 65 for me is more what I like, just because I have my computers further away from me, and this gets me more in the normal size, I would say, for the field of view. Now it also has something called solo frame. Solo frame is where it is tracking you. So if I move over here, it will track me and keep me centered in the frame as I move around. So that's a neat feature. For me, I sit right here, I don't move. It's not that useful, but for some of you it might actually be more useful of a feature. Alright, and then the other thing, you can adjust the anti-flicker, changing it from 50 to 60 hertz if you want to do that. And then there is a image setting where you can change the brightness up, and get washed out in my case, or really dark. Or I can just keep it at the 50, which seems to be automatically appropriate for at least my condition here, where I'm not using any of my studio lights. I just have some overhead recessed lights above me, and that's the only light that is being provided. You can adjust your sharpness, saturation, and contrast ratio, as well as do the mirror image if you wanted to do that. Alright, and then the last one is the light itself. So this is the light bar right above the camera. You can obviously turn it on, and you can change the color, you can change the brightness here. You can also do this on the camera itself by the touch features on there. As far as the brightness goes, you can't change the color temperature. But then the other thing that it does have is a feature of automatic light adjustment. So this actually looks at your face. It uses artificial intelligence to pick out a human face, and then it auto adjusts the light brightness based off how much light is on that face. So that's kind of another neat feature that they have that leverages a little bit of AI to help make the experience better. So that's really all there is inside of this Ankerwork app. It's fairly simple, but it's also very easy to follow and change these settings. So I do like that about it. So let's go into a Windows camera app. Alright, so now I'm in the Windows camera app, and I can hit record on here. Alright, so now I am recording on the Windows camera app. And again, I can do this without installing the Ankerwork software, but it's going to always be on the default settings. So now there are some settings you can change in here. You can still go back and change the brightness of the camera. And if I were to pause, I could go in there and change a few of the other settings as well. Alright, so if I go, I have to stop the recording, but then if I go to the settings, I can see in here I can change the video quality. And you do have some different options here actually than the Ankerwork. It only went down to the 360, so this actually gives you a lower resolution further to go down, but it retains this 1440 that I had in the other one, the 2K. And then the other thing that it does have for you scrolling up is the photo quality. So if you were to take the picture, there are settings here for that as well. And then you can also put some other things. This is just standard Windows camera app options as far as the framing grid. So those are some of the options that you get in Windows. And again, you don't need the Ankerwork software to get any of those. But what you could see is that there was no field of view setting in this Windows one. So if I wanted to have the narrow field of view, which I don't have right here, I would have to go into the Ankerwork software and change that, and then it would retain it. So let me just show you that just so you can believe me here. Alright, so I'm going into Google Meet just to show you what the video looks like in a app. This is very similar in Zoom, Teams, any of the video conferencing ones that I've messed with so far. They all kind of work the same here. So if I show my camera, turn it on here, you can see that it is zoomed in the narrow field of view, which is 65 degrees field of view. I obviously don't have it quite set up right where it's chopping off a little bit of my head, but I want to show you now that I can't adjust the field of view here. But if I go back to the Ankerwork software, and to do that I do need to turn off the camera so I can access it through this. But now if I go in here, and you can see that 65 degrees is highlighted, but now if I change it to 78 or 95, it will go to that. Now what I was really interested to see was if I change it to this auto tracking, will it do that even in a different app? And so let's go to the solo frame, and so now remember, this is the one that will track me. If I go side to side, up or down, it follows me around the best it can. So let's go into the Google Meets now and try that out. Alright, so let's click on the camera to get that on, and now you can see that it is zoomed in closer. And then what you'll notice here is that sure enough, it actually tracks me even in Google Meet, which I was surprised with it because I didn't know if that was tied to the software directly or if that's in the camera itself. So it looks like the camera does retain that, and it would work for you in your video conferencing stuff. So I thought that was neat. Alright, so some other features I did want to show you on this camera that I thought were neat is one, it does have a lot of adjustability here with the actual mount itself. You can put it on the top of a monitor very easily. You can adjust both this angle here as well as this angle here to get it to hang on to something, and then the camera also swivels left and right very easily. So I have not had a problem getting my field of view correct from center monitor, side monitor, or anything in between there. Now on here, when it's recording, which right now I have the video on the computer, you can see the blue light. That blue light tells you that the recording is active. If you hit the mute button here on the left side, you can see that light turns red. So that lets you know, a visual indicator that you are muted. And I think that was nice, and the blue steady shows you that you are video recording. So that is handy there as well. You can see here on the right side, I press that guy. Now the light comes on. You can use this slider here to go up and down in brightness very easily. And then you can also, of course, close this down so that it is over the camera if you wanted privacy so that people can't see you. And in fact, that powers down the camera itself, where it turns off effectively so that it's not just showing you a black screen even. It actually turns off the camera according to the computer. Alright, and so just to give you a demo of sound, I'm going to play one of my previous videos here, but I'm going to play the sound through these speakers just so you get a sense of what it sounds like. Alright, so now I have a video pulled up, and I have the sound turned to 75% volume, just to give you an idea of how clear it is with someone talking. Full max, and then I had speakers playing through it, and everything still works. So I'm going to just turn off that light. It doesn't do a lot when I have so much light going on right now, but this is how the video looks. So as you can see, it's very clear, and there's not a lot of distortion at that level of volume, and that's a higher volume than I would say I am speaking right now, and it has more to go. So I found that this is very adequate system, all self-contained, with the microphone, with the speakers built in, and the lights. All right, so here's just a quick demo of how the light works. So now I'm in the basement. I've turned off all of the lights in here, and what I do have is I do actually have two 32-inch monitors that provide a decent amount of light by themselves, but I have the light bar on right now, and you can see, I'm a couple feet away from the camera. I am very well lit, and just to show you how much the light makes a difference is if I turn that off right now, this is what it would look like without it. So like I said, these monitors actually provide a pretty decent amount of light by themselves, but the light bar is able to compensate for a completely dark area and give you enough light that you have good visibility for any kind of video. Alright, so overall, I am actually very impressed with this product. It feels very well built, very sturdy, and clean. It is much bigger than I thought it was going to be, just looking at it on online on a picture. But it's because it packs so many really good features into one compact unit that allows you to have a speaker, your microphone, your light, and a 2K resolution camera with a sturdy mounting method and a attachment for a tripod or other attachment as well. So the biggest learning I had out of this was that I did not need to give it power, and I'm not sure if there's anything that I was missing that makes it require power, but from my testing, I didn't add power to it at all. So if you do want this product, I do have a link to it down in my video description. Feel free to use that. So in the coming weeks, I'll do some more videos about some of this home office setup. And in fact, things like this desk itself is something I kind of piecemealed together. I didn't buy it all outright because I wanted some specific things, as well as it was much cheaper to do it this way. So I'll be covering some more things here. If you have any questions specifically about what I've done or how I've set it up or about this camera itself, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll try to respond. So thanks for watching.